All right, well, let's get started. Hey, Simon, how you doing? Welcome, happy Friday, everyone. Well, at least Friday here in Australia. So we're going to continue working on this this fishing challenge that we have over on Xamarin.Forms. So Fridays is UI challenge day. So what we've been working on so far is we've been working on this nice little fishing application design by somebody called Fatila Rizki. So really nice little design. Now we worked on this last week. In fact, I've got it running on iOS and Android over here. So that's what we're building. Last week, what we did is we worked on this first screen, this onboarding screen. So the very first screen that comes in. And some of the cool things that we did in this is we've got this nice little gradient going on here. Basically sitting over top of our collection view, or sorry, our carousel view. So as we swipe across, we have that sort of gradient that stays there, which is kind of nice, right? So this is, of course, running on two different platforms here, iOS, Android. And so you'll see that there's some subtle differences. You know, on iPhone here is a larger screen, and Android is a little bit wider, so you can see that there's some differences there. But, you know, it seems to resize nicely, even when the text goes over. What else did we do? We did some other cool things, like we created a little sort of gradient here behind this bit of text down here. That's kind of nice. Might be a little bit hard to see. And we also did a custom indicator view down the bottom here. So we have this little star that appears on the current page. Good morning, Lachlan. How are you? So that's kind of what we worked on last week. What we're going to have a look at this week is we're going to have a look at this page here. Hey, Daniel. Good to see you. Sorry, my phone's making little beepy noises. Let me turn that off. There we go. Beautiful. All right, so we're gonna work on this middle screen. But just to sort of reflect back on what we did, we basically launch up to this page here. This is an onboarding page, so this isn't going to include in our back stack, if you like. So when we go from here to our next page, which is going to be really ugly, by the way, okay, we basically transition across here, okay? But there is no back that we can go because that was our onboarding screen, right? So for example, in Android, if we go back, it will actually go and leave the application. So that was pretty cool. I've got some notes here about what we did, and I should first of all give credit where credit's due to the link here out to the fishing mobile application. So this is the design, as I mentioned. And if you want to follow along at home, well, if you want to have a look at the code later on, it's in the GitHub repo there as well. Okay, so I'll just post that chat. And for people who might be watching a YouTube video later on, I don't know who that would be, but if there was, there's that link there to the code. Beautiful. All right. So a couple of interesting things there. So just to reflect again, we did a pop-up page with detection of the dismissal. We had a view model sitting behind our onboarding pages, which is kind of cool if you wanted to collect some information during your onboarding pages. We did the frame with the gradient using the linear gradient inside of Xamarin.Forms. We have an indicator view and a carousel view with an overlay gradient using MagicGradients, which is also really, really cool. So the thing for today is this main tabbed page. So let's have a look at that. And I've sort of written myself some notes here about what we're going to need to implement here. We'll start talking about the layout strategy first of all. Then we'll add in a tab view from the Xamarin Community Toolkit. So I haven't done a lot of work with that, but we'll give that a go. We're going to need a view model, of course, and we're going to create some reusable things like a reusable gradient frame, just because the design itself uses this same sort of gradient as it does down here. on these other sections here. So we don't want to do that each time. So we'll basically create a little reusable control for that. And then we'll get going and implement the whole page. A couple of interesting things that do happen on this design is, in fact, I'll bring up Adobe XD here, where I've got the screen sort of image here. They've got this cool little people badge indicator to indicate who is actually, who's at the fishing location. And one of the nice things it does is, if there's a collection of, say, 10 people, it doesn't show 10 badges, it shows a few badges, and then it has this little plus indicator. So we'll try and implement one of those and see how it looks. Okay, now in preparation for this, I found a few graphics around the place, and I reproduced the graphics for the bottom section for the tab view as well. So I did that. I don't know if people are interested in seeing how you create those things, or how I use Adobe XD. Hey, Sergio. That is indeed the GitHub link. Basically, sort of recreated these things, including this little weather icon here as well. If anyone's ever interested in knowing a little bit about Adobe XD and how you do that sort of stuff, let me know. Hey, Sergio from Portugal, welcome. And I collected myself some fishies as well. So we need some fishies, and we also need some locations and some maps. So I basically just sort of found some images around the web, did a bit of Google image searching. Okay. So should we get started? I don't see why not. Let's have a look at our page structure here and talk about the general strategy that we might use. Okay, first of all, what I noticed about this page is this page is basically stacked down, right? And so I think a stack layout is going to work for these particular elements inside of here. Okay, so we'll just have a stack layout inside of there. We'll probably put that in a scroll view because as we saw with the Android and the iOS, they're different page lengths, right? So this design is done for an iOS, which is kind of long. But if you're running a crummy Android device like me, like a Pixel 1, they're a little bit shorter. So we might have to have some scrolling. What else have we got here? We've got a carousel view, right? So this is going to be a carousel view that goes, this way and this way. We've got a fancy tab down the bottom here. I think a good option for that these days, if you're going to be doing custom tab pages, is the stuff in the Xamarin Community Toolkit. So I think we'll use that. Okay, but the first thing is, I suppose, getting the actual main page layout, right? And so what I'm thinking is, of course, the tab view down the bottom here, we want to stay consistent on the page. So I think the page itself will be a grid with 2 rows. Okay, so row down the bottom here is going to have the tab view inside of it. This bit at the top is going to have that stack layout that we talked about that goes down. And then for each of the elements, we're going to have to, because they got, reasonably complex layout, I think we'll end up having a grid. So for example, on the header in the stack layout, let's have a grid like that. Okay, with 2 sections, and then we're going to have an image in there, and we'll have maybe even a stack layout down here for this text here. Okay, or we could do it with two columns or 2 rows if we want. Likewise, I think this is going to be a grid with a frame, a nice gradient frame around it, and of course this is going to be a carousel view, and it's kind of got complex layout inside of there. So again, if you've got complex layout, grids are probably where you want to be. Grids are pretty cool. So I'd like to see if we can get this page done today so that next week we can do this page, which looks super fun. Okay. So hopefully that is okay with everyone. Is my audio a little bit hot? Lachlan, you're the kind of person who would know that. I feel it might be. Just going to turn my mic down a little bit. As always, I've kind of just gone and readjusted my desk. So I've moved my mic. Anyway, let me know how that goes. Beautiful. Okay, let's get started, shall we? Let's come back over to our project. And of course, if there's any questions anyone has as we go along, feel free to shout out. Or just comments or... Oh, so the question, Lachlan, was my mic a little bit hot, a little bit loud? I turned it down a little bit because it looked like it was peaking. You might know that. All right. Let's have a look at what we have. So first thing we have is we've got our main page, right? Our main page had a little bit of logic in here about the pop-up. So if we should show the pop-up, couldn't hear any clipping? Okay, great. We go and we show our onboarding page. We push that modally, but now it's a bit quiet. All right. Well, let me turn that up there. There we go. That's better. Okay. And then we detect when it is actually disappearing as well. And the reason we do that is we had a little bit of logic to actually fade the page out, just so it wasn't a hard transition. Let's have a look and see whether our iOS is launching. It is. Okay, so when we go from this page, so this is a modal page that's popped up. So instead of just sort of dismissing it, what we do is we actually fade it out and then fade the next one in. Okay, and the way that we do that is just with some really simple fading options in there. So here we go, and we fade that in. Cool. All right, so what we're going to do is we want to start hacking on this page, I think. Lachlan, you're on a train. Yeah, fair enough. First thing I think we want to do is we want to get rid of all of this content inside of here. Okay, so now we've got like a really nice white page. Let's give it a background color. We've got ourselves some resources set up. So we'll make that background, so that'll probably look a little bit nicer. All right, and we've got our fade here. Okay, so what we talked about is, let me just come across here, is we're going to have a grid with 2 rows. Okay, beautiful. So let's start out there, I suppose, right? Back to our code here. Let's go and give this some row definitions. So the first part, we want to be expanded to be the maximum size. So it's a star. And then we'll say like 60, for example, for the footer or the tab view. Now what we'll do with our box view, just so it goes over the whole page, we'll say this.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim, Phil Potts, and oh, how amazing you'll be.
Hey, Miller IT Consulting. Welcome and thanks for the follow. Let's make this row span of 2. So I think that should do it. Let's have a look. So there it is there. Beautiful. So we have that. Now let's do this. Let's put in our tab view. We'll put in a fake tab view to start with. So we'll just say a box view with a color of yellow in grid row 1. All right, cool. That's where our tab view is going to live, down the bottom. Beautiful. Now I actually have to go and pull in the NuGet actually for the Xamarin Community Toolkit. So why don't we do that? For those of you who don't use the Xamarin Community Toolkit, it's basically the greatest thing since sliced bread. And I would argue that you would probably use it in all of your applications. It's got so much good stuff in here. So let's bring that in. Lovely. All right, in fact, let's go over and have a little bit of a look at the I don't know where it is. Where is it? Xamarin Community Toolkit. Nope. There's got to be a GitHub link here somewhere, right? That's under the Xamarin namespace. I think it's just had a release, by the way. All right. So this has got lots and lots and lots and lots and lots of really cool stuff in it. Getting started, we need to add the namespace in. So let's do that. Okay, got that in there. There's some documentation, project structures, lots of really, really cool things. Sample app. I'm going to probably just dive straight into the sample app because I know that there is a sample for the tab view. And let's go and have a look. Pages, views, tab view. And I know that there is a custom tabs page because that's what we want. We want custom tabs. See if there's anything in the CS. There's a little bit of a handler for a button. Oops. What else have we got? Okay. Beautiful. Okay, so if we scroll down here and have a look at this, there's lots of styling going on, lots of resource dictionaries, but you can see the tab view itself is kind of just like this. It's a tab view. Okay, has a little bit of styling information, has a tab view item for each of the tabs that you have. Okay, inside of there. So it's kind of nice and simple. So why don't we just go ahead and steal the initial one. Let me just go and plonk that one in as a starting point. Okay, and you can see it's got lots of styles and things that it references in here. We'll put this in grid row 1. I'll get rid of this custom style for the moment. And also this background view. I don't think we're going to need a background view. I think all we're going to need. Hello R2, how are you?
It's R2, so you can't argue with him.
Hopefully you're doing well. It's always nice to see your little kittens in the chat. All right. Hey, Nasro. How you doing? We're just adding a little bit of a custom tab down the bottom. It's going to look something like this. I'm good, thank you. I'm good. It's Friday for me, so that's always enjoyable. It's not a cat. Do I recommend the tab view? So look, you got a few options, right? Like inside of Xamarin.Forms, tabbed page. Travesty. I thought you paid for those cats, R2. So there is a tabbed page in Xamarin.Forms. And it's okay, but it's pretty hard to customize, because if you want to customize it, you've got to do all this crazy stuff with renderers and things like that. So for certain situations, it's fine, but the Xamarin Community Toolkit, now has this tab view, which is pretty cool. So I reckon this is a pretty good option. The one thing to be aware of with this, though, is the pages that you have inside of the pages that you have inside of the tab view are not really pages, they're views, right? So it's actually like you're switching between views. Now, there is a lazy loading option for these tab views. Okay, so there's a lazy loader in the Xamarin Community Toolkit, and in fact, I think you'll find. Let me just Google this for you. I think it was on the Microsoft YouTube Xamarin Show tab view community toolkit. Just keep writing things in here. There we are. There's a good video here that goes through all of it. And I actually had a little bit of a watch of this, so it's pretty cool, and it shows you some of the power of it as well. So check that one out. Definitely go and have a look. I'd recommend it. If you need very customizable tabs, and often designers do funky things like this, and so so instead of writing a bunch of renderers, we can use the tab view. Okay, let's see what happens here. Now, there's I'm keen to see if we can get the new tab view to work with Shell. Yeah, I'm not sure. Hey, John P. Hello. Cat wearing sunglasses, love it. Okay, so the idea here is we've got a tab view, and it's got a control template, right? It's got a tab item template. And this one's got a fab item template as well, because it's got a bit of a special one. Now, I'm going to grab those resources from the samples, right? Because I'm a little bit lazy and I like to just copy things. So let's do this. Let's go grab this resource dictionary and this fab item, and we're gonna like get rid of these in a moment, I think. But it'll be a good starting point. I won't worry about these styles for the moment, unless it's going to bark at me. So I'm going to put that in there. Close our resource dictionary down. Let's put that in a content page.resources. That should make our XAML happy. Beautiful. I can use this. What is this? Ah, beautiful. Hey, that's a cool little design. Sorry, I'm just having a look at that on my other screen. Fantastic. I could certainly use that to have a look at as well. Let's see what this does. Let's try run this. Hey, Mr. Glenn Stevens. So it's going to take a moment to build. And I don't know what this is going to do because I don't have half of these resources. I suspect it's going to be a really ugly tab. We'll just wait for our iOS to build. My iOS has been misbehaving a little bit. Oh, there were build errors. Okay. So what this sample has is it has a button you can tap, right? So we actually don't want that. So I'm going to get rid of that because I didn't copy in the code for that. Let's try that without the tapped indicator. Build succeeded. That's a good sign. And let's just see how crazy ugly this tab can be. Okay. Tab item style. Okay, so that's interesting. It didn't pick that up earlier on. So I'm gonna get rid of these because those styles don't do too much. They're just setting the text style. So I'm gonna get rid of that. It's probably the hard way of getting going with the tabs. It's all right. Coffee will help. Let's hope we go better this time. Past our onboarding page. Well, that's a small tab, isn't it? That's a very small tab. That is maybe the tiniest tab I've ever seen. All right, well, that is not going to be good for us. So I think we need to make that the same height. So let's give that, I think it's a, from little things, big things grow. That's exactly right. Let's give this a tab strip height of 60. And that didn't do much for us, did it? Tab strip height of 60. Let's just try a tab strip placement. Put this at the bottom. It's getting worse and worse. It's getting smaller. All right. Let's have a look at what we have. Let's get rid of. Let's just put a tab view item here with an icon. Okay, so I've got some icons already. Maybe I should actually try using these things sometimes. Let's put tab icon 1. Okay. Cool, we've got our first tab icon. So down here, that's our little tab icon. Let's have a look at, so what we want is, let's just see if we can put these in. We don't want any text for these. Okay, in fact, let's go and have a look at this tab item template, see what it's doing, because we probably don't want to use the same tab item template that they're doing. Yeah, see, because look, they've got, yeah, see, their tab item template is kind of a little bit complex, I suppose. I don't think we need any of that. What we just need is we don't need a grid, but you can see that you can style these however you want, right? I have an image, and you can see that it's using the source, the current icon for that. So there, that's probably going to do us. And then we'll get rid of this label because we don't need a label, right? Because we just got, if we just have a look back at what we're trying to do, we've just got images for our tabs, right? So that will probably do us. Let's see what it did to our design. Yep, okay, cool. We've got an image there, and it's a little bit nicer, a little bit bigger. Let's add in our other ones. So that's our first one. Oops, let's not kill that. Let's put in a second one. So that's our tab icon 2. And in fact, we're going to have 3 and 4. Now, we have this one in the middle, right? So there's our second one. Beautiful. What they have here is they've got a button right here. So inside of the Xamarin Community Toolkit tab view, you can actually have things that trigger, which is actually what they have here. Okay, so if you remember, this had a clicked or something like tapped, right? And so it's actually a command that you can issue, which is kind of what we're after. But what we'll do is, a second, let's just get rid of, there we are. So that's their fab item template. I'll get rid of this one. And let's add in our other icons to start with. So we had 3 and 4. And then we got this fab item template in the middle, right? So our fab item template, pretty much the same thing. It just uses different styling, right? So what we could do with that styling is, instead of just having an image inside of there, we could actually have an image button. So we'll get rid of that. Actually, we probably want to put this tab plus. Okay, and we'll get rid of the text because there's no text. And let's go and have a look at what the fab item template specifies, because what we want in our fab item template, we do want an image button. We don't want a background color. We'll give it a height request. Horizontal options of centered. We'll make it centered vertically as well. Get the current icon, width. So this has got different radiuses on different platforms. Okay, because what they're trying to do is a circle button. I don't think we need to do that. We could probably just say, let's give it a corner radius of, say, 30. It might be a bit big. I don't know. Let's have a look. Oh, and we want to get rid of this box view here as well. Hang on just a second. Sorry about that. All right. So we're going to have fab item template. Let's have a look at what that gives us. Okay, not bad. So we've got, we're going to have various tabs here. We've got the plus in here. We want to give this a bit of a background color, I think. Background, and we can use our static resource of accent. Let's see if that works for us. What is it? It's a background color, maybe. Maybe that's what we're after. Well, that's special, isn't it? All right. Corner radius of 30, height request. Interesting. Doesn't look like it's going the full height. Let's give this a bit of, let's try making this have a bit of a width and a height, perhaps. I don't know. Doesn't look good, does it? let's try this. Let's try adjusting the size of this down a little bit. And we'll give this like a corner radius of 16, for example. All right, so that's a lot better, isn't it? Well, kind of. We might want to make... this a little bigger, maybe. Is that hot reloading? Tab content 3. I don't know if there's tab content 3. Just want to see if this is actually hot reloading. It appears to be. Do, do, do. I wonder if anyone can see anything interesting in here. I wonder if it's getting upset about some of the heights. So we get a margin. It's in grid row 1, it's in row spacing 0, seems all right. Current icon, that seems fine. Height request of 15. Yeah, I don't know. It seems about right to me. A tab view. So there I was saying it's easy to customize this. Turns out it's not that easy. Let's sort of just get rid of this. Just simplify it right back down. Interesting. Oh. Do you know what I think the problem is here? I think the problem is that we didn't close this tab view. Did we? It's hard to tell with these line endings. I know that's closed. Tab plus 3 and 4. Change these back to the values that I wanted before. It's interesting, it's not in the center. So let's say horizontal options fill. Let's say it's interesting, it's not. I wonder if this is a bug with it. So it's there, it's just taking some extra space there. I wonder. I'm going to get rid of this. No, that's not it. Let's try it on Android. Let's see what it looks like on Android. It's the beauty of UI. All the little things that can go wrong. And we'll give that a little bit of a build. Hey Clancy, how you doing? Nice and tired? Why so tired? Oh, Lewis, how you doing? Oh, you won. You won against Rosalind. Well, that's good.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotson. Oh, how amazing you'll be.
I'm not sure how amazing this is going to be. I'm having a little bit of trouble lining up these tab views. And I don't know why. It may be one of those things I end up refactoring later on. Exactly. Well, there's my counter. I should probably start my counter at 1. All right, there's my tab view with a beautiful yellow background. How delightful. All right, cool. We like.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Philpotson.
Hey, Monty.
Oh, how amazing you'll be.
Beautiful. Okay, so we're going to tab view here. So that looks kind of nice in Android. Let's have a look at it in iOS. Come on, Mr. iOS. Because you're giving me something different. And it makes me sad. Oi. Let's not do that. Let's run it on a stimulator. There we go. All right, so let's have a look at the different results. So you probably couldn't see that because I was behind my big fat head. And also there's a refactor count up there. Okay, what I'm going to see is the difference between these two puppies. I put the yellow background in that one. Huh. You know what I reckon? I reckon hot reload wasn't reloading the tabs correctly. Because I didn't make any changes apart from get rid of the yellow at the background. And there it is. But one thing is clear is aside from the safe areas, it looks nice. Yeah. Now I think what I'm going to do is it is usually your fault. That is true. All right, let's put it like that. That looks good, right? Let's not turn off the sort of safe areas. Let's just put it inside there. Beautiful. Looking really good. So it's a fine looking tab. And let's just run it on Android as well. That took me longer than I thought it would. Isn't that always the way though? So just as a reminder, well, let's just check our Android looks okay. Yeah, beautiful. All right, so we got some tab views that look oakley dokily. All right. Ship it. It's done. Exactly. All right. What are we doing? We talked about layout page strategy. We did our tab. We're going to create a model and a view model. Oh, God. All right. This is the trouble with MVVM, right? We've got to create a model and a view model for our page so that we can start jamming data in here. So this is like the really boring bit. I do wonder in this UI challenges whether I should just create these models beforehand because nobody cares. But maybe people do. I don't know. All right. So let's have a look at what we're going to have here. Okay. So we're going to have a view model. Everyone loves view models. Yeah, famous last words. Yeah. So this is how I would probably do the view model. All right. So you're going to have a view model for this page. Great. It actually doesn't visualize anywhere. We're going to have stuff like Yeah, I'd love to, Clancy. Maybe we should stream together, and I can talk about the UI stuff, and then you can talk about how to do it in the MVU side of things because I don't have a cracker. But I'm going to have to learn, right? So maybe we can team up. So there's some weather information. There's like a location and a date and a temperature and a temperature indicator and a chance of rain. So these are all going to go into the view model for this page here. Then what we have is we've got something a little bit more complex going down here. Now that MS Build's been defeated. Cool. Get comment up to date. Oh, fantastic. I'd love to give it a try. So down here, right, we have a little bit more complexity. Yeah, I'd like to know that as well. Miller IT, how the heck do you style MVU? I suppose if we watch Clancy's stream, we'd know, right? Vandross is like, what the hell's MVU? It's a Clancy question. Model view update. All right. This section down here is going to be a different view model because this is a carousel view. So we're going to have multiple of these puppies, right? And inside of this view model, we're going to have things like the name, the lat long. We're going to have a collection of people inside of there. We're going to have a couple of images and a map, and then we're going to have a collection of fish. So it's not an entirely simple view model. And of course, because I don't have hot restart on my code, I'm gonna have to do this without it running, which is sad for me because I love my hot reload. All right, but let's do this. Let's just add in a class. Let's call this our main view model. And I'll just punch through this as quick as I can, I suppose. So this is going to be a base view model. We're going to have a bunch of properties. We're going to have a user image. Just having a look at the chat about MVU. Yeah, I'll be curious to know when sort of Maui days come along, whether I'll stick with an MVVM pattern or whether I'll go more MVU. I don't know. All right, let me just throw some of these in. So we got our location. So I've just got this, just to let you know, I'm just basically working through these fields, creating fields for all of those things. So I've got this on my bottom screen here. Instead of driving you all insane by switching between them, we're going to have a string, which is our temperature. For the sake of it, I'll put a string in for the current date. I'm going to have a property for the weather conditions. I'm going to have a property for my weather icon. And we'll have a property for my chance of rain. Okay. And then because I'm not really getting this, so we'll just start with that. And because I'm not really getting this from anywhere, I'm just going to add myself a constructor in here. Oops, that's not a constructor. That's a constructor. All right. And I'll just fill in some of these values. So location is, and if I was really cool, I would call out to a service to get this, but I'm not. I'm going to add a centigrade sign in here. There's actually a special character for it. That's cool. I'm not going to bother. I don't know if it depends. I suppose it depends if your font supports that, actually. Current date. Let's just make this the same 15th of March 2021. Well, let's maybe make it today. That would be cooler, wouldn't it? What is it? The 26th of March. Weather condition, it's a sunny day. Weather icon. So I created this icon because I'm not sort of pulling this from anywhere, I have a sunny icon. What else do we need? We need a chance of rain, which is going to be 15%. And we also need a user image. Now, for user images, I don't know about you, when I'm creating these mock-ups, there's a pretty cool thing called randomuser.me. Anyone ever use that? Something like that. I don't know. Let's grab this chump here, and I'm just gonna copy the image link because I'm that kind of lazy dude. All right. Yeah, I could do daytime now. Then I got to format it, Clancy. You know, that's the problem. STMC Griddles. How you doing? Yeah, so randomuser.me, it's an API. You can actually call it as an API. Or it's just got a whole bunch of just random people and stuff like that. You can use for mock-ups or, you know, whatever. And it's got a really nice format for the URLs. Like if we go and have a look at, oops, let's go and get our image location. Right, it just, you know, and then you can just like throw numbers in here. You know, 23 will give you a different person, etc. Clancy's giving me the string. I'll refactor it later. Okay, I won't refactor it later. Okay, we'll trust in Clancy. I don't know if it is actually the right string, but anyway, let's say datetime.now.toString. Let's see how good Clancy is at this. Yeah, exactly. That's what I was just thinking. DDD. DDD first. I don't know if that's going to work, is it? Does that look right? Sure. One more M. One more M. Oh, man. There's got to be a Visual Studio add-in, right? When you start doing dates, to just go and visualize it all. It must be. We'll just go the short month. There we are. I don't know. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. All right, that's our view model. Lovely. Let's go. It's probably a resharper feature. The refactor later, it's just a command I added into OBS. So because I do it so often as I'm going through, I'm like, I'll do that later. So I added a little badge here, and when I press the button, it increments the refactor later count. But in my case, I can take one off here. I can go back to 1. I don't know what I was refactoring. In fact, we'll take that back to 0. There we are. Beautiful. Now, let's have a look. Where's our... All right. Pretty cool. I love playing around with OBS. All right. I'm going to go and put this somewhere up here out of the way so you can still see it. Collapse this resource dictionary here. And let's go ahead and put this page together, huh? All right. First thing we'll do is we'll do the... Move this back up here. We'll do the header. Okay. We'll do the page content. So like I said, I'm going to do a stack layout down here. And then here, I'm going to do a grid. There we go. For the header content. First thing I need to do is I need to tell it what view model I'm using. So I'll add in a namespace, view models. Okay, and then we'll set our binding context. And we'll say this is going to be our view models main view model. All right, so now we should have a view model behind that page. Let's create the basic structure of our page. Now I'm going to start with a stack layout. It's going to be vertical, which is the default, so we don't need to bother saying that. Okay. It's not too bad. Are you having a look at the comment stuff? All right. So first thing we want to do is we'll add a little bit of padding around it. Yeah, absolutely, Clancy. Like the C# reload stuff is it's probably what's going to tip me over the edge. Let's put some padding around our page. And then let's do a grid. We'll say we'll have 2 columns, a star and an auto. Let's have it fill the page, which it probably would anyway. So what I'm going to do here is I'll create a grid, probably a grid like that. It doesn't matter. We could do a stack layout in there. Anyone got any preferences? Let's start with an image in grid column 1, and our source we should be able to get from our binding context of user image. All right, there's a teeny tiny user image over there we like. All right. Why don't we add a little bit of text into the first section? So let's put in a stack layout. And we'll have a label in here, which has our text, which is, I'm just going to move this down to my second screen so I can reference it. Good morning. It's a great day to strike a fish. That's a weird thing to say. Okay, now you're not going to see that because we haven't got a style for it, but if I made that text color white, okay, we can see good morning, and we'll have a text color. In fact, instead of, hi Clancy, it's no problems at all, man. Please share all that stuff out. It's really, really good information. And in fact, I'll go back through and have a look at those as well, because I really do have to get up to speed with that stuff. Let's add some styles. That's what we need, don't we? We need some styles. Because normally I just say refactor it later. But in this case, I'm trying to get out of the habit. We'll have the semi-bold font. In fact, I'm going to probably copy this one. We'll call this page header. Probably a pretty big font, I reckon. I don't know, like 24 maybe. And then maybe we'll create our subheader. And we'll make that something a bit smaller, maybe like 16. Whoa. Come back to our page and we'll set some styles on this. Yeah, it looks pretty good. Good day to strike a fish. Yeah, I agree. So UI challenge stream with Maui. Totally agree. I feel, and Clancy, you'd know better than me, but I feel that maybe we're like a preview or two away from really being able to do that sort of stuff. That's the impression I get anyway. Okay, let me just come back here. Change this color. There we are. Great day to strike a fish. Now, what we want to do here as well. So this is where we now have to see here. This has got a gradient around it, and a gradient panel with some nice rounded corners down here, which is the same sort of thing that we got going on here as well. And in fact, it's the same thing that we have going on here. So this is where it's probably a good idea to create ourselves a custom frame that we start using. In fact, if we go to our onboarding page, we'll probably find something down here. There we are. We'd find a frame with a linear gradient brush, which is exactly what we need. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to create myself a controls folder. And I'm going to add in a new class. It's probably refactoring I can use to do this, but I don't know. Make it a gradient frame. Just add a class. That's not what I want. I bet you now, what I really wanted was a content view. I bet you I'm going to break it. Gradient frame. I don't know. Seems to be all right. Okay, so I'm going to make this a frame. I'm going to get rid of this stuff. In fact, let me put some things in here. So like the corner radius, 16. And we've got our background there. Cool. So hopefully now what we can do, I have to probably go and change the class behind this to be a frame. But I reckon we could now add one of these puppies into our UI and we can just start reusing it. All right. So kind of what we want to do is we want to add a gradient frame around this. Probably make it a little bit bigger as well. So let's see what happens if I add a namespace for controls. And then a gradient frame. Put that image inside of a gradient frame. Oh, look, I can see my gradient frame already. Okay, cool. So if you look really carefully up here, you can see it's added that gradient frame. All right, so that's cool. Nice little reusable thing. What size do we want it? Or what padding do we want? Let's have a look. Let's reduce our padding a little bit. Let's make our image of our user a little bit bigger as well. So we'll go with 50. There we are. That's pretty cool. All right. So now the challenge is we need to add some rounded corners on this as well. So we could, there's a couple of ways we could do it. There was the old image circle type plugins. The way I'm mostly seeing like people like David Ordenau and people like that do it is they use the clipping of the shapes. So you can do like this. You can say like image dot clip and then give it a geometry to clip to. So for example, rounded rectangle geometry. All right. And then we could say corner radius, like 8, because it's going to be smaller than the container. And then we will also have a rect, right? So we're making this 50 by 50. So that's where the rectangle is going to be. And all things going well. There we go. All things going well. We've now got the clipping there, right? So that's kind of like a really nice, easy way to do clipping. Zoinks. All right, so we got the first part of our page. Whoop, whoop. I need confetti. All right, now that we've got our gradient here, we can do this one. And we can test out how good Clancy is at toStrings as well. Let's have a look at how we might structure this thing. Okay, it's going to be a gradient frame around it. There's going to be a grid in here for sure. Probably 2 columns, I'd suggest. This looks like it wants to line up, so maybe like that. And then we could stack layout that down the page. Or at least have stack layout there and put that at the bottom. That might work. Let's try that. Let's try 2 autos. We could be prescriptive about how big we want it to be, but you can have an auto here, an auto here, and then probably my guess is and then we'll make it as big as this. So maybe this will be a star and auto. Let's just play around with it, see what happens. All right. But the first thing we want to do is, I'm going to put a comment in here because commenting in XAML sucks, but sometimes it's worth doing. See, that's why commenting in XAML sucks. What did it just do? All right, so let's grab a gradient. Actually, we probably want to have a gradient frame around the grid. Okay, and then what we'll have is we'll have a grid inside of this with 2 rows. based on the size because we don't want it to be bigger than it needs to be. And 2 columns as well. The first column taking up most of the space, the second one being an auto. I kind of like autos to be proper cased. All right. And then once we have that, we can then basically put in let's just put it in here for the moment, a stack layout with a label. So that's the location and then the date. So we should be able to use that binding here to location. Let's just see if that's appearing. Yep. Okay, you can see it, it's in black. And then we'll bind that to our current date. And probably what I want to do is add some stars to these, I'm guessing. Yeah, actually, it's probably, that's way too small. I'm going to create some styles for this because if we have a look at this, whatever this is the same as well as like this and this, and this color here is the same as this and this. So 2 styles, it's worth doing that already. So maybe like a section header and a section detail, something like that. Section header is probably going to be a little bit smaller, and a section detail. We'll make this. It's in the body text color. I think, is it? Yep, it's in the body text color, which is that gray. Tweaks. And it's a little bit smaller as well. We'll see we'll adjust the sizes as need be. Section detail. Let's have a look. Friday the 15th. I put some dots in there. There, Clancy. It puts dots in when it shortens it. Also, it's in uppercase as well. So this is one of my favorite properties. Text transform. To be able to just go, make it uppercase. There we are. And now it's uppercase. That's awesome. Do 4Ms. Well, see, now the problem is, because I don't have hot reloading on my code, I'm going to have to stop it, aren't I? See, that's why you want an MVU right there. I love that text replace. Look, that looks all right. That looks all right. Cool. All right. starting to make a little bit of inroads here. That's good. Why don't we go ahead and put in, come back here. Let's put in that. We'll put in those. Perhaps we'll put in those. Let's put in the sunny day and the chance of rain. And this is going to go in grid row 1. Sunny day. And we need a style. It's going to be the same as this one. Yeah, I see what you've done there, Clancy. You know what? I'll refactor it later. Sunny day. Okay, let's do the chance of rain. Because that's kind of interesting, because we're gonna do something like this. We're going to say grid column 2. We're going to have chance of rain 15%. But what we actually have in our design is we've got chance of rain and then 15% in green. So in this case, I'm going to maybe I could do a horizontal stack layout with 2 elements, or you could do a span as well. Let's see if a span works. Or a formatted string. I don't know. It's a bit of wacky syntax. This. It's like label dot formatted text, and then is that right? Formatted string. Yep, and then span, and then we have our text. Melite WF guy jealous of the inline grid row column defs. Yeah, it's awesome. Okay, chance of rain, and then we'll put another span in here, but with our text being bound. And let's also, sorry, I'm running out of screen real estate here. Let's change the text color. To our accent. Booyah! Chance of rain, 15%. Lovely. Okay, let's maybe put that down there as well. And let's put an image and we'll be done. Okay, let's put an image. This is going to be in grid row 0, grid column 1, and our source for this is going to be, because I'm not using real things, I've just got a sunny icon. That's big. All right. We might want to constrain that, for example. Let's make this centered horizontally. Maybe we should give it a width request. Maybe a height request. Why is that over there? Why is it there? Auto. Star order. So that should be making up most of this. Why so big? Why so big? Two rows, two columns. Oh, I know why. Because I've said this is in grid column 2. There is no grid column 2. And in fact, see that? MFractor has actually told me, if I bothered, it says, hey, you know what? You put this as 2. You don't have 3 columns. You've got 2 columns. So this is column 1. There we go. That's nicer. I feel this should be a bit bigger. But I bet you if I have a look at this, it's going to be, yeah, it's got a lot of white space or black space actually, because when I created this image, which was pretty fun actually, right? It's like 2 circles together and a little bit of a shadow. I've got this sun here. And I've got this gradient. So there's actually a gradient that comes right around here, which is why it sort of looks like it's a little bit further out. So maybe we'll give it a little bit of negative margin, because that's how we roll. There we are. That's probably looking better. Nice. You know, Miller IT Consulting? I was actually thinking that exact same thing as well. Like a good extension to this, yeah, is to be able to have grid pos, right? And then establish a pattern on it, whether it's row, column. And so you could say, you know, like 1, 0, 0, 1. Something like that. That would be cool. Because quite often you end up doing this and it's just super annoying. All right, we've got one more bit of text to put in here before we get on to more fun things. How is this done? Is this just a... Yeah, is this just a... This is just a property that's been added to a grid, right? And then there's a converter that goes and takes this or does some magic with that string to say create row, create row. I'm assuming that's what's happening in the background. But yeah, that would be a really nice little thing. Some people name columns as well and rows. Which is of course another option. Okay, text equals. We're putting the temp in here, and we've probably got a style. It's probably the same as the page header. But it's styled in a nice green. What's reordering my properties? Yeah, this is awesome, dude. Hang on a second. Let me finish this thought. Let's just go and put this down the bottom, I suppose. I mean, where's it going to appear? Because that's in a stack layout. I can do it. Why don't I do it in the stack layout? Boop, boop, boop. And then end up with something like that. All right. So the thing that's reordering my properties is an extension called XAML Styler. And it's awesome because what it allows you to do is all kinds of cool things about, when it should wrap onto different lines. So, sometimes you'll see if I've just got two properties, it just makes it one line. If I have more than two, it starts wrapping them down. You can order things. You can have exceptions for what lines. You can have all sorts of stuff around as well. Specific ordering if you like things, first of all. So the thing called XAML Styler. And basically on save, it'll just go and reformat things, which is pretty cool. So there you go. Yeah, I'll find you a link for it. Let's Google XAML Styler extension, something. And if you're working on a team, the bestest thing about this is you can create essentially like an editor config file. So you can say that you can associate with a project to say for this project, this is the standard that's going to be used. Because otherwise what happens is, of course, when you first go into your page, if you haven't been using it, it'll just go and change everything. But XAML Styler, I'll give you another link, which is really useful. XAML Styler, Xamarin editor config. Yeah, Sharpnator had a really good post here, and it's going to be the same. It sounds like you do WPF, but the same deal with WPF, right? And this is about how you can create essentially an editor config. It's called settings.xamlstyler. Put it in the directory of your project or somewhere else. And then you can say, hey, this is how I want things to be reordered. Because sometimes you care. Otherwise, I think it just does it alphabetically. So yeah, that's your morning taken care of. Exactly. Unintended git changes out the yin yang. That is possibly the best quote I've seen all day. Wow. All right. This is progressing. Not as fast as I'd like, but you know, we've got our top section up here. It's looking pretty good. Now what we need is the hotspots, the recommended spots. Okay. Well, we can put the header in first of all. Let's do that. We've got our weather section, and then we're going to have a label, which is going to be, what's it called? Recommended spots. And our style is going to be like section header, I suppose. Yep. Now, because this is in a stack layout, I can have a bit of spacing in here. There we are. Just to space it out a bit. Recommended spots. Alrighty. So now what we want is we want a carousel view. Carousel view with a frame in it and a whole bunch of other stuff. But we're going to have to create a view model for it. Booyah! Now, why I'm here, I'm going to do Clancy's change, which is going to make me feel like a little bit bad.
Shame.
But I'm going to do it.
Shame.
I'm going to replace. Can we just do them with characters? Just to get rid of the. Is it going to allow us to do this? Probably not, because it's a string. Get out of the way. It's going to bark at me, isn't it? Empty character literal. Yeah, damn right. Okay, it'll work. I think it'll work, but you know, dirty. All right. View models. What we're after for a view model here is a fishing location. I'll create a model for a fishing location and a view model, because we also need a model for people and for fish as well. I'm going to just, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to just put them here underneath as a starting point. And then I'll refactor them into things later on. So what I mean by that is, and sometimes I do this, right? Like, so like a fishing location, for example, I'll go public class fishing location, right? So we'll have a model for this. It's going to have a name. It's going to have a lat long. I'm not going to try and do any fancy conversion with that. I'll just sort of put it in as strings at the moment. I'm going to have a list of people, a list of fish. I'm going to have a thumbnail. I'm going to have another one, which is my map thumbnail. Something like that. Okay. Now, what I'm also going to have is I'm going to have a people model. And all I really need to know about people in here is their name and their icon. So that's all I'll bother with. Okay, like so. And so in here, what I'm going to have is I'm going to have a list of people models. And this will be like my people. Sure. And I'm going to have a fish model as well. And pretty much the same thing here at the moment. Oops. All I really care about for a fish model is I just need to know their name and I think image is better than icon. Okay. So add a location. It's a name, lat long, list of people who are there, a list of fish who are there. All right. And now I'm going to refactor these into proper classes. I don't think they're move to namespace. Is that going to? I want to see what this does. Not what I want. It's going to wrap a namespace around it. Don't want that. What I actually want to happen here is, I think the easiest way of doing this is just like, hey, let's make it into a class. So move it to fish. Move this to people. Move this to, so now I have these three classes. This is probably a really bad way of doing it. I don't know. And then I'm just going to move this. Then I'm going to move this to models. Actually going to, it's not going to move it. Well, that was the long way. Oh, let's put it up there. Yep. Fish model. Yeah, that was pretty inefficient way of doing it. Oh well. Okay, so we got our models now. Yay. Let's see what fails to compile here. Probably nothing. That's good. All right, let's go back to our main view model now that we have some of those things in here. So the other thing that we want inside of here is we're going to have like a collection. Let's call it a list maybe of location. You know what I'm going to do? I'm actually going to, instead of just using the model here, I'm going to create a view model around a fishing location because I feel like there's some other things which are going to have to be morphed. Like I'm particularly thinking about this, right? Because you're going to have a collection of people, but it's actually shortening that list. So I'm actually going to do this. I'm going to create myself a fishing location view model. Okay, and I'm going to take a model object in here. I don't know whether people like this pattern or not. All right, something like that. I'm going to create myself a property to be able to get that. Put that up here. All right, so then we've got a view model here. All right, let's populate that so as we can populate our screen. So in here, we're going to have a public, like an observable range collection, I suppose, of location view models. And we'll call that something neat like locations or fishing locations. Doesn't really matter. Maybe we'll be a little bit more explicit because fishing locations. There we go. Okay, so I think that's kind of all that we need to do. So now we can say our fishing, just new up some data, fishing locations dot add or equals a new. You're needy. What, my arrows at the end? Oh, these arrows. Yeah, those arrows, ligatures. It's just a font. Fira code. All right, fishing locations equals a new, oh God, new one of these, but that needs me to pass in this is going to be special, isn't it? a new fishing location model. So many brackets. So many brackets. The name. What's going on here? What am I doing? What is going on? All right, let's get control of this. So, we're having a new observable range. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do this. Get rid of all these stupid brackets. God, I promised I've used C# before. Why don't you like that? Bueno. Cannot convert from a location model. Ah, that would explain it all. Okay, because what we want is a location model. Truth. All right. Now I'm going to jam this data in here. This data. I'm going to jam some people in, some images. So if you're wondering where I'm getting this from, I'm just basically throwing it in. And this is why I think maybe I should just do the view models before the stream. And just focus on UI stuff. But anyway. So this one is called South Mandalika Lake. It's that long. All right, I'm going to cheat with this puppy. I'm just going to say it's 8. I'm going to use fancy symbols. 8 degrees. Oop. 53 minutes. 53.2. Something's, there we are. Something like that. South. I have no idea what these actually mean, but anyway. Okay, we'll go with that. That'll do. What else we got? We got a location thumbnail. So I did do a little bit of preparation for things like locations. Yeah, I know. Miller's asleep. Dummy data. I apologize. I actually put these in GitHub. So I've got like these here. And I thought I would just pull them from here because it would just be a little bit easier to get it from the GitHub. Just pull down a web resource, and of course it's gonna cache it for me anyway. Now I just need to remember what I called them. Location 1 map. Okay. What else we got? We got people. Hey, Bill Ashton, how you doing? Very good. Very good. I'm just creating some dummy data here. It's really boring. Miller IT Consulting is currently asleep because this is so boring, which I understand. I'm not going to deny it, but it's going to be amazing when it's done. I'm just going to put some random values in here. You can be 13. So I'm just adding fake people. I'm just going to add 3 people. James, Jenny. I can't remember with... Wait on. Drinking is more accurate. Fair enough. Boozing. James, Jenny, and Rose. Okay. Do we have some people? Struth. Let's add some fish. I don't know the name of any fish. Snapper. Is that a snapper? I have no idea. It is now. That's a snapper. We'll add 2 fish. Blue fish. Make that the blue fish. All right. Now I'm just paranoid that I've got my... So I got my first location here. And then I'm going to say... fishing locations equals a new collection of fishing locations. And then I'm going to... God, this sucks. Add first location. Alrighty. Let's see what happens. Of course. I change that without changing the types. All right. This is going to be awesome. Where are you? All right. We've got our recommended spots. Beautiful. This is going to be amazing. So we're going to weather. Okay, let's have our recommended spots. Okay, so for this, we is going to use a carousel view. Okay, and we're going to give it an item source, which is going to be our fishing locations. And we should be able to see if that works straight away. You actually can, if you look really carefully there, it does actually have it listed there. It's just not showing it. We need to create a data template for it. So let's do that. All right. So now we have a data template. So what we want, zoiks, load template should not be null. Okay. Maybe I was getting a bit optimistic there with my saving. We want to add into here a gradient frame with a grid. Let's run that. All right, cool. Right, so now we've got our carousel view down here. Let's go back to our design. Talk about this. So we've got carousel view, beautiful. How are we going to structure this? I think the way that we should structure this is, of course, with a grid. I think maybe the easiest way here would be to just have myself 4 rows. 4 rows in 1 column. And then within each of these, we'll do whatever's required. So there'll be sort of, like for example, this one here would probably be a grid inside of here. So let's do it that way. So let's say our column definitions are going to be, column definitions, we only have 1 column. We've got rows. We have a row definitions. Now, I don't know whether we should allocate explicit sizes to these. I'm not sure what it's going to do. Let's just do that. So I'm just looking at the sizing here. Let's just throw in some values here. All right. And then let's throw in our first section here. So a little grid with 2 columns. We're getting a bit gritty here. So we have a start and an auto. Okay, and then put a stack layout inside of there with a label, which is going to be bound to. So we've got fishing location. So this is showing the name. So this should just be binding to name, I think. And this will be a section header. I'll put that over there. That doesn't seem to work, does it? Name doesn't exist in my fishing location view model. Okay. Is that because it's exposed through location? That's why. Okay. So it's actually location.name. There we go. Beautiful. All right. What else is in our design? We then have our lat long. This is going to be in our alternate style. So we'll say static resource. We'll have section detail. And our text is going to be binding to location dot lat long. Lovely. All right. That's good. Now over in our other column, we want to have a button with an image on it, right? So coming back to our design, we want to put this thing over here. So we'll say, let's create an image button in grid column 1. Let's give it a background color. Not a background color of our accent color. Let's just see if it goes in the right spot. Okay, it's not very wide at all. Let's give it an image. So, well, let's give it a, maybe we'll give it a height request first and a width request. So height request of 50, width request of 50. There we are. We'll give it a corner radius of, I think we used 16 before. Okay, that's looking good. Let's put our source as, and of course I can't remember where it is. Map indicator, launch maps PNG. Okay, that's a little big. Andros, I've yet to have your moan blown in a code review. That's fair call. It's a little bit smaller than that, isn't it? There we go. That'll do. That'll do, donkey. Hey, Goku Jax, how you doing? Code reviews. It's a good time for hugs. We're just working on this. We're continuing this design here. We've got some things going on. I don't know what's going on up here. What's going on up here? Oh, do you know what the problem is here? I just realized what the problem is up here. If we have a look at the top of the page, as we've been like doing all of this, right? I hadn't noticed, but all of this stuff up here, I mean, if somebody was doing a code review for me, it would have worked. Somebody would have identified that this is all starting to squish up in weird ways. And the reason why is because this is a stack layout. And because we're on Android, it's larger than a single page. So we need to do a scroll view to stop the stack layout from squishing everything. So much for code reviews. All right, so let's do this. Let's just smash a scroll view around here. I bet you this will fix it. Well, probably won't bet. Bam! Fixed it. Because here we are. Beautiful. We've only got one location at the moment, but that's it. All right. Let's add some more things. So that takes care of that row. It is a little bit hard to work with Miller IT. I don't want to hurt feelings. That's good. I'll speak up. Oh, I see, for the code review, right? Yeah, look, I'm kind of used to in these sessions people just derailing me and like, you know, telling me I'm doing it all wrong. And that's cool. I don't mind that. All right. We're going to do this next bit. We're going to do this bit here. Oh, we're going to do that bit. All right. I'm just going to do the quick version of this first. I'm just going to go and get the images and I'm going to stack them across there. All right. And then we'll talk about how to do this afterwards. Because it's going to require a model change and a view model change. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create myself, where's my mouse gone? I'm going to create myself a grid with two, a star, and then a bindable horizontal stack layout. So grid dot row equals 1. And it's going to have 2 columns. Yeah, see, this kind of designs a lot. Yeah. Well, there's the easy way, right? This one's got a special twist, right? They're actually really super duper easy to do. Kind of. Right. So all we need to do is we'll do a stack layer with an orientation of horizontal. And this is going to be a bindable layout. And the item source for this is going to be locations.people. Right? Ugh. Binding locations.people. It's a little bit challenging here with this size font. It's hard to write, but anyway. Right. And then we're going to have a bindable layout template. And a data template inside of there, and then we're going to have an image, right? And our source, because we're looking at locations, people, is just their image. Does that work? That didn't work at all. Well, source of image, that's not going to work. Binding of image. That didn't work either. But anyway, did I have binding fails? Okay. The magical binding engine, exactly. Fishing view models, location view model, target property for the item source. Oh, we're already looking at a location, a fishing location. And I go, there we go. Okay, cool. Check it out. All right. So we got three people, right? This guy does not look like a fisherman, but anyway, we got these three people. So we need to make these people round so we can use the same trick that we did up above, right? First of all, what we're going to do is we're going to give these a size. We're going to make them 30 by 30 as a starting point. Okay, cool. And then what we're going to do... No, absolutely not. So question that, this is an important question actually. Are bindable layouts preferred to collection views? No, they're not. So bindable layouts is just like a cheeky way of saying, for all of the elements in my collection, right? So this collection here, I want you to apply this template to each of those people in that collection, right? And in this case, it's a stack layout. So this is a stack layout, and it's basically just said for all the people in the collection, create an image, right? Boop, boop, boop. This is cool, right? But what it's doing is it doesn't do any kind of recycling of views. So it means if I had 1,000 people in here and they went off the screen, it would still create 1,000 elements, 1,000 visual elements for me. Whereas a collection view would create only enough visual elements for the screen and then recycle them. So yeah, so memory performance problems, absolutely. But they're really good for situations like this, where you've just got a few elements and you don't want all the overhead of a collection view. So in my case, right, we're going to just do a few elements and then have this plus sign. So it works really well. But if there was potentially 1,000 people, yeah, no good. So that's a really good question. Hopefully that makes sense. Now, I'm going to clip this the same way that we did above. So, in fact, I'm going to go and steal the code because copy paste is what I do best. Okay, and then we're going to say we're making these. This is creating a clipping rectangle, 30, 30, and a corner radius of 15, and it kind of almost works. I think we maybe have to play with their vertical location. There we are. Okay, so now what we have is we've got 3 round people. That's cool. And now what we have to do is we have to overlap them. And that's where it gets super easy, because you can just say margin equals like 10 to the left. And now they're overlapping. It's a bit hard to see with the color scheme. Let's make these a bit bigger. Let's make these 50, 50. And then we'll overlap them by 20. Here we are. And so now they're overlapped each other. Doo, doo, doo. Awesome. But of course they're too big for what I want. So I'm going to take them back to 30, 30. Something like that. All right. Why? Oh, we need a margin. Or some padding. Because this is, oh, actually, you know what I need to do. I'll tell you what I need to do. Because the margin has pushed these all back by 10. They've all gone back by 10 so that they overlap each other. I need to move the whole stack layout out 10. Ten, 0, 0, 0. There we go. Have I used SkiaSharp to draw charts before? I haven't. No. Goku Jax, do you know about the micro charts library? Yeah, I'll give you a link to an article on it. Because hopefully that has a link to the GitHub as well. I'm sure it does. Yeah, so microcharts is... Are you serious? Oh, there we go. Microcharts is a really cool library, which is done in Skia, I do believe. Is this it? This is not it. Hang on. Here it is. Okay, so it's failing on Mac. So this does all these really cool charts, and this is all done with SkiaSharp, I believe. Yeah, SkiaSharp. I'm going to do one next week when I do this down here. But yeah, no, not really. I haven't really used it too much. But if I was going to go and do some simple charts, I'd use microcharts. Because as well, you can just steal the code if you need to. Okay. So, Dragon, 22 months.
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr.
Thank you very much, Dragon. Appreciate it.
Oh, how amazing you'll be.
It's stealing code and then being like, look at me, I'm a genius. Exactly. That's what developers do best. Let's be honest. Let's be honest. Yeah. I got a question for you about my YouTube channel. So my YouTube got banned, and I don't know why, and they didn't tell me why, but everything disappeared. And then it made me think about my YouTube channel and think about how much I hate it, right? In terms of, I basically put up recordings of these videos, but of course they're way too long for anyone to possibly watch, right? Although some people do. I was thinking, and it's kind of too hard to edit them. So I was thinking maybe I'd do like 5-minute videos, right? Of just like how to do this thing, just little UI elements, and just, how do you clip one of these things? How do you do an onboarding page? So they'd be kind of easy for me to do, and I just take them out of my designs. Yeah. Because, normally with every one of these challenges, I try and do one thing that I've never done before. Yeah. So in this challenge, it's going to be two things. One, well, I don't do a lot of onboarding screens. And the other thing is this, I want to hook up to the gyroscope so you can look around for fish, which would be awesome. I don't know if it's going to work, but yeah. So yeah, I think that's what I'm going to do. And because I lost my YouTube channel, it made me think about the fact that I should care about it more. Cool. Yeah, cool. Good idea. All right, I'm gonna try and pull off some of those, and I'll probably just take them from these designs. I won't go into a lot of detail. Like I'll go through the code and implement it. Yeah, a playlist for. Well, I was thinking individual 5-minute videos. How do I create? I'll just take the elements out of it and put it into a separate project. How do I create a stack collection of people or something? Anyway, that's good. All right, I'll do it. So here's where it's going to get a little bit special, right? In fact, you know what? I'm gonna leave this bit for the moment. Should I? Yeah, I'm gonna leave this bit for the moment. I'm gonna get these bits in here very quickly, and then we'll come back to this, right? So we'll refactor it later, right? And we'll talk about how to do those bits. Yeah, Xamarin Bytes. Well, because my thing is UI, right? So it'll probably be like Xamarin UI Bytes. But and then I'll be doing Maui Bytes. Cool. Yeah, negative connotation. We might workshop the name a little. All right. So that was that bit there. Okay. Next section. Next section. This bit here, right? This is going to be a grid with 2 sections and a couple of images. Okay, we got that. We know how to do that. We're going to create a grid. Sweeks. And we're going to put this in grid row. I mean, if you put bytes with a Y in it. We have two columns. We'll have a star, or 2 star and a star, right? Which is going to mean the first one is twice as wide as the second one. And then we're going to put an image. Binding what's it called? Location.image, location thumbnail. All right. We want this to aspect fill. Okay. And then we want to have another image. It's just getting a little bit more complex. Image, aspect fill. Source equals there's plenty of developers, I think, of machines. Oh no, what did I do? Okay. And this is going to be in grid column 1. Okay, beautiful. So we've got our 2 images there. I think we want a little bit more space in between them. So we'll use the power of column spacing, which is not something I do often. Does that even work? I don't know, maybe. The human mainframe, I love it. Okay, we want rounded corners on this. Now, here's a problem. The problem here is that in this case, we don't know how big these things are going to be, and I don't think we can do an image clip without knowing the exact size. So we can resort to the other way of clipping, which is to wrap it in a frame. Zoinks. Like that, and then give it no padding. Give it a corner radius of 8, probably. No shadow, because they look horrible. There we are. And then we can end up something like that, and that's too much space in between them. All right. And then we could do something similar around this one. Oops. That's not good. So this would be in grid column 1. Lovely. All right, cool. Yeah, we got that. Now, the last thing that we need is we need fish in this area, and then a bindable collection of fish. All right. fish at this location. There's the fish. Fish in this area. Okay, it's a little bit. Okay. Let's do this. Let's go and put this in a stack layout. God. All right. In grid row 3. And then, you know what we're going to do here? We're going to do another bindable collection of fish. Fish going this way. Now, my assumption here is that it's only going to show a couple of fish, would be my guess. Yeah, we got fish. We got fish. They're called sharks. Okay, let's go and let's go up here. Let's make the item source for this to be our location fish. Okay, and then inside of this, we will have a bindable layout, item source, a data template, zoiks. Oops, I broke it. Not item source. Item template, and then we'll have a data template, and then we'll have an image of the fish. And boom, our fish should appear. Dope. Our fish didn't appear. A magic binding engine. Got my item template, got my data template. Maybe it needs a width. No, item template, bindable layout.item template. Damn, this should binding location fish. Let's have a look. Let's just make sure we can. All right. I think I done broke something because I'm not seeing this. Fish in this area. Okay, it's updating. Okay, so what do we got? Stack layout, item source, binding to location fish. Yep. Item template. See if we're getting anything here. Yeah, we're getting something. Okay. So in this case here, okay, so I think okay, So we're having a location fish. I wonder if we need to... Yeah, set the aspect. Maybe I made a typo in my view model. What's my fish model say? Image. Okay. Fixed width and height, yeah. Let's do this. Let's go vertical option start. Oh, wait on. Did I see something there? No. Width request. Let's give it a height request. Wait on a moment. Let's make sure data here. So we've got a fish model. Fish has an image. Yeah, it looks like an image is in my list. I'd agree. We've got a fishing location. Did we even create fish? We created a location. We added people. We created fish. Let's see if that's the right place. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm going to have a look at. Did the links work? I don't feel that that's the... I feel that. It should be raw GitHub user content. That's what it should be. But it's not. Because I did a bad thing. I was linking out to a GitHub page. I think that will now make it work. We got fish. We got fish. All right. We don't need yellow. Awesome. And let's see if I can just get rid of the height and the width. Okay, that's good. I do think there's some additional spacing needed though. Well, yeah. I bet you if I bothered to look here somewhere, it would have said it failed to get the image because the binding was fine. Anyway, I'm never going to find it in that log, but I'm pretty sure somewhere in the log it would have said, hey. Yeah, that's exactly right. Because otherwise, if the binding wasn't working, I would find it in here, in the binding failures. That would work. All right. So here's a problem we have. We've got this really big carousel here. So we need to change that. And I think the way we're going to change that is by actually giving this a fixed height, perhaps. Yeah, that's totally a thing. It works really well, actually. So how big is this? 1, 2, 3, 10. That works well. Stack layout spacing. Why is this doesn't look... Oh, I bet you... There we go. This needs a bit more spacing, doesn't it? Yeah, let's do this row spacing. Does that work? Doesn't, I don't think it refreshes in the carousel view. That's interesting. I save that. When I re-render it, okay. Wouldn't mind me. Okay, take care, Bandros. I'm gonna do this like little plus sign here in a second, and then we're pretty close, I reckon, to having this done. Last thing for the day, Rocket League. Awesome. All right, well, take care, Bandros. Have a good one. Okay, so this is what I think we're going to have to do here for this particular part. We're going to have to... So the idea here, I assume, is that if there are 7 people at this location, we don't have room to show 7. So we show just the first few, and then we show this plus X number of others, right? So my guess is what we do is we have a view model property, which just returns us the first 3 images, right? And then we have another thing, which tells us how many more there are. Okay, and then we have a property which returns us the count and the name of the first person, or the first people. So that's the approach I'm going to use here. So it's going to be a change to the view model, because that seems like the right thing for a view model to be doing. Oh, nice. We've got Rocket League Championship starting up. All right. So let's go to our view model here. C# Bros. I love it. All right. I'm going to create a property. Which is going to be people at location. It's just going to have a getter. And what it's going to get is, what am I doing? Okay, I'm going to get the first person. So that's going to come from location.people.first. It's probably better ways of doing this as well. I kind of suck at link. First or default. If first is null, then let's just return it's just you, right? Because there's nobody. Otherwise, what we'll do is we'll say we will say get the counter. We need the first person's name. What am I doing? That's not string interpolation. First dot name and location.people.count -1 others. So that hopefully we'll be able to bind so we've got our weather conditions. We've got our people. Okay. So this is our stack layout in the first column. So now what we want to do is we want to have a label binding to people at location. Let's have a look at what style this is. Kind of similar to this, but in color of white. So would that give us what we're after? Oh, yeah, here we are. And we'll put this in grid column 1. So we've got James and 2 others, right? So that's cool because James was the first person and 2 others. So we've got 3 people. Beautiful. Except we need to have some other text in this location. So we'll change that to a stack layout. Okay. And this time our text is just going to be in this location. Is that what it said? Locations. Let's just go in this location. Okay, beautiful. And we'll reduce the spacing. Beautiful. All right. So that's kind of how it's supposed to look. Okay, James and 2 others, which should be an and signed. Okay, in my case here, so that's good. So the real trick now is how do we do this? And I think the trick here is going to be to use a data template. This is one approach, right? Because I've kind of got to have another element, right? Because if I've only got 3 people, I just show 3, right? If I've got more than 3, I then want an additional element, which is going to show me how many more. So let's try it with a data template selector. Because now we're going to have 2 different types. We're either going to have a badge or we're going to have a image. First, what I'm going to do is data template selectors are awesome. I wish they're a little bit easier to write, but okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this. I'm going to create
Today we're gonna code lots with Mr. Kim Phil Potson.
Scared me.
How amazing
Gisna.
you'll be.
Hello, welcome. Welcome. We're just about to do a data template selector. It's going to be awesome. I'm going to create a second location. Okay, so we can test this out, and we'll call this North Lake, and we'll give it a different image, a different map, and yeah, thanks for the follow. And we'll call this Frank, and we'll call this, just grab some different images around here. Maybe Jenny's at that one as well. And this one doesn't really matter. But let's create another couple of people. Let's create a dragon. Let's create I don't know, a Jilsna. I don't know how to say that. Let's create a Bandros. Okay, so now we have lots of people. 1, 2, 3, 4. We got lots of people there. We'll just get rid of one of the fish. Just to, again, test that our things are working. All right, now let's see what this does. So we're basically going to have different numbers of people in each of the carousel views now, because we should, I didn't add it to the collection. That's going to help. Second location. All right. So we've got 2 fish here. We've got 3 people. Hang on a moment. Where are we at the second one? I'm confused. Okay. So we kind of got this working here. So here we've got, at North Lakes, we've got Frank and 5 others. And 1 fish, so that's good. At South Lakes, we've got 3 people, James and 2 others. So what we might do is we might say, all right, we might say, let's cap it at 3, right? 3 images, and then it would show how many people. So if we have a look at the design, the way they've done it, and this comes down to what they're actually trying to show here, is they've basically said James and 4 others, but then they've got 3 images and plus 4. I don't know what that means. Does that mean there's 7 people? I would think 7. That's right. I would think 7. Infinite recursion loop. I don't know if I can trust you with a username like that to come up with numbers. The label indicates 5. Yes, that's 5, right? That's 5 people. And that, I don't know whether that's supposed to be, if there's more than 4, it just shows 4 plus, right? I think what we should do is this should be, well, we get to decide what we're going to do. So this is the first person plus X others. This one, so should this badge show the total number minus 3? I don't know. You tell me. Or maybe this should just be the total number. I would think it show plus 2 if there's 5 and 3 are visible. Yeah, let's go with that, right? Fix the bug. It's a UI bug. It's the designer's fault. All right. We're going to do it this way. Because look, it doesn't matter, right? We're not releasing this app. We're just doing this for good times and trying to learn UI, right? Okay, so let's do this. Let's go and create ourselves another property. Okay, so it's going to be a list of objects, and you'll see why in a second. Because we're going to use a data template selector. So this is going to be our people icons. Objects. Object. A list of objects. All right. So let's do this. People count. Well, equals location.people.count. People to show, right? So this is just like a constant basically. So we'll say we're going to show 3 people. And then what we're going to do is we're going to turn list equals the first 3 people. Right? That's what we're gonna populate. And then we're gonna say, let's go and add the first people. So return list dot add. No. Let's be a little bit more explicit about this. List of objects. And we'll say return list.add range location.people.take 5, or in our case, people to show. So we add the first 3 people. Do we need more badge? If the people count is greater than the people to show, then we're going to add another item in here. And we want to add something with a counter. Doesn't matter what it is, right? In fact, I wonder if this will work. Nah. What would happen if we just added person count minus the show count? People count. God, what am I doing? Okay. So we're just going to add an int. Is that going to work? I don't know. All right. So we're going to have a collection of people and an int at the end. And then we're going to use a data template selector to say if the object is a person, use a badge. If it's not a person, so it's an int, get the value and display that. Now, I'm just not sure whether if I have an int in here, whether I'm going to be able to pull that value out. But we'll find out. So what we want is we want to have a data template selector, right? Well, let's just maybe just call it templates. And we'll create, I'm going to copy some code. Data templates selector, whatever. Xamarin. I'm going to have a look at the docs. I'm going to copy one. All right. And we're going to add a new class here. Let's call this person collection data template selector. Or. All right. So we've got 2 data templates. We're going to have a person template, and we're going to have a counter template. Something like that. And then we're going to say if the item that's coming into this is a person model, people model, we're going to return the person template. Otherwise, we're going to return the counter template, because we should only get one of those, because we jammed it in at the end of the collection, remember? If we needed it. Person template, counter template. Cool. now what we need to do is we need to add this into our page. And we should be able to do this while we're running. Probably. All right, so it should be something like this. We'll go to our main page. Okay, and if we have a look at the docs for data template selectors, you basically create this class which says, based on the data, which template am I using? And then you can go and you can stick in some data templates. And then you've got a data template selected to find as well. So let's do that. So that's going to be our data template. And we'll have this for a person template. We'll have another template for our counter template. And then we'll have a template selector. But it's got to reference the namespace. So we have to say NS selector. What do we call it? We called it templates, actually. So let's call this templates. And then we're going to have this thing here, which is going to be templates, person template selector. Okay. And we'll call this a let's call it person data template selector. That's all right. So the two options, one is a person template, and we'll make that point at that resource. So basically, if it's a person, it's going to pick up that. And if it's a counter template, it's going to use this. So there's our selector. So now we need to now we need to go down to where we have our images, and we need to copy out that and put it in the template. So we have an item template here. So that's our image. So that becomes what's in our template. That's our person template. All right. And then in our counter template, we just want to put in like a circle, right? Like I don't know. We could do the same sort of thing, right? We could have a frame. With a padding of 0 and a background color of green. And inside of here, we're going to have a label, the center, horizontal options, center. The text. Now this is going to be interesting because the text is going to be binding to dot, which would be the count, the int. I don't know if this is going to work. Anyway, we'll find out. Okay, let's get this template rocking first of all. See whether this magic works. Because what we're gonna do, we've got an image button down here above our fish. Yeah, here, I got rid of this, right? So now I think all I need to do is I need to say bindable layout dot item template selector points to that one up above, static resource of person data template selector. It's not confusing at all. Bam, that didn't work at all. Easy peasy. Lemon squeezy. You know why this didn't work? Because we're still binding to location people, when in fact what we want to bind to is no longer the people, it's that new collection we created, which is people icons. All right, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. I really should have a break. I'm getting delirious. Bad things happened. People icons not found on fishing location model. Not found on fishing location model. Oh. Yeah. All right. Hey, look. It almost worked. Look. Let's have a look here. We got 3 people. We don't have a badge. We got Frank and 5 others. We got a badge. It's got the wrong number, but it does display a badge. So let's fix up the badge. Counter template. Okay. Okay, let's make it the same. Let's say it's got a width. Oh, no. The frame. Let me put this over here. Doesn't matter where I put this simulator, it's always in the wrong place. It's amazing. Let's give this a width request of 30 to be the same. Let's give it a height request of 30. Vertical options of start. Maybe it should be center. I don't know. Let's have a look. Maybe it should be center. All right. Now it needs to be round, so it needs a corner radius of 15. And it needs to say however many plus. So we can say binding string format of 0 plus so 3 plus, and we got to fix the logic because I'm not good at maths. And we need to give it a negative margin, the same as what we've done up above. Boom. I think they should overlap more. 15. Let's make it 15. All right. So that, oh no, wait, that is right. That is right. Okay, let's have a look. Wait on. Let's zoom in on this bad boy. This is why it's confusing, right? So this is James and two others. James and two others. And this one is Frank and 5 others. So we're showing, so there's 6 in total. Yeah, it's like 3 plus 3 is 6, correct, Dragon? But now it's confusing because you're like 5 and 3 and 1. Yeah. That's a challenge, isn't it? But we got it working. We got the data template selector working. So that's good. What would make more sense? Maybe the text should list names of all profile pics shown. Yeah. Could be a bit crazy, but I see what you're saying. So this should be James. So this one here would be James, Alice, and James, Alice, and Frank are at this location. Yeah, I know there's the plural. And this one should be the 3 names and others. Yeah, okay. Should we try it? Let's try it. Unless anyone's seen how people do this in other situations, we should just be able to change it in our view model here. The people icons are going to stay the same. The people at location okay. Who's good at link? Okay, Dragon. I want to select the names of 3 people. I don't know. Who.name? Is that going to work? No. You're a good man, Dragon. Look at you. Yep. Select names is probably going to go into a list or something though, right? In fact, do I need to do to list? To an IEnumerable? Well, because I'm thinking what I then need to do. This can be the first 3 names. And then yeah, that's what I want. So yeah, I call toList on it. Because what I want to do now is I want to say name list equals wait on. There we are. That's what I want to do. String.join. Something like that, right? So that should give me the list of names separated by commas. Yeah, it's a good call. Would it be different? Yeah, let's do an order by. No, order by. Didn't I do that? No. Okay. Oh, because I'm selecting names. Yeah. Yep. See, look, I'm learning Link. So now we got this name list. This is going to be too long, you know that, right? So now we're going to return if so now we want to say if we're at our point I feel it's going to be some refactoring on this bad boy. We'll do it later. So we get our people count, right? Put this up above. So we're going to get our count. We're going to get our first person. We're then going to get our list of the first people to show number of people. And then if the number of people is greater than the people to show, so let's say it's 4 persons, we show 3 persons. And so then what we do is we return names name list and God, this is nasty little bit of code, isn't it? And something. Otherwise, we just return the name list. Does that look about right? I feel it's going to be bad. Looks about right. I think the list of names is going to get way too big. Ship it. Done. I need a ship it button. Okay, James, Jenny, and Rose are in this location. At this location? I don't know. Maybe they're in it. Wanted by name length. Come on, you can do a collection view. Bedros, Dragon, Frank, and 3 others are in this location. Frank has a bad. Frank's. That looks about right. What do you think? I think it's more intuitive than what was there. Dragons. I assume in Dragon is like, yay. Now we need to unit test. Well, actually, no, that's fine. We got 6. We got 6 people there. You're just glad the link didn't explode. Well, that would have been your fault. You know that, right? All right, there's something wrong with the height of this. Let's have a look and see what we can work out what that is. And then let's just watch it explode on an iPhone. So I feel that was not what we're after. Thanks, Dragon. Take care. Thanks for the resubscription, and thanks for saving my link as well. So take care. Sleep well. I think we're just about done here, actually. I'm going to just see if I can tidy up a few things. But yeah, take care. Oh, I think maybe that's just too big. Because they're only 50 high or something. Peace out. Exactly. Are you peacing out? Miller IT? I don't know what this spacing is here. I feel like there's a lot of spacing going on. Could just be the spacing on this, actually. It happened when I centered the template. Okay. Well, let's have a look here. Let's have a look at this stack layout down here. No worries. Take care, Miller IT. Yeah. I wonder whether it should be in the center or whether it should be at the start. I think it should be at the start. So where are we? We've got this one here, this stack layout, vertical options. Let's right back at the start. Oh, I think maybe our data template is setting him into the center as well. Yeah, vertical options center. Let's get rid of that. Let's make that a start. Yeah, take care, Bill. We're just about, I think we're just about done anyway. Okay, so that one should go to the start. But I appreciate you joining. I need to get some lunch as well. It's like I've been coding for far too many hours. Okay, so that's probably about right. More good ideas? Love it. Well, I appreciate you joining in. Okay, and then I feel that because they are much smaller, they're only 30 high. If I make this 50, not 5, 50. Oh, hang on, that's the wrong one. That one should be 100. Ugh. There we are, that's better. Now the spacing doesn't feel quite right. Maybe that needs to be limited to I mean, we could limit that to one line, but then it's going to do weird things. We said max lines of 1. Yeah, it's going to be bad. If we do what's it called? How do we wrap text? What is it? There is a property which is how does it wrap text? What's it called? Trailing. Let me have a look here. Character spacing. Kind of line break mode, that's it. That's kind of okay. Because that way it keeps it to I mean, it's a fishing app, right? You wouldn't expect like 50 people there. You'd expect a couple. And that way we keep it down to 2 lines or 1 line. Yeah, label has that option. It's really cool. So you can have middle truncation, you can have head truncation, tail truncation, word wrap, no wrap. And you could do no wrap. What would no wrap do? It would just wrap it anyway. Thanks, label. You're the best. Tail truncation, put dots at the end. Wouldn't you? This could be that hot reload problem. Tail truncation should be... Should have put dots at the end. Anyway, I think the right one for us is middle. And then I just got to work out why there seems to be so much room there. Okay, it's definitely this one who's taken it up. And it could purely be based on the fact that I've made that 60, but these things are only 30 high. So I have to make that like 40. There we are. That's better. What are our fish doing? Our fish are still down there. Fish are happy. Did that just bounce? All right. Let's have a look at how it appears on iPhone. What could go wrong? Come on, iPhone. Do we run? Here we go. Let's see what sort of trouble we're in here. That looks all right. Why don't we get rounding on these corners? Did we not have rounding? That's rounded. That's interesting. Ooh. Is clip to bounds equal true? I would have Isn't it? Doesn't it default to true? That's a really good call. Goku Jax winning. That is spot on. Spot on. It was not clipping it. So on Android it clips though, right? It was doing it before, wasn't it? Yeah, that was a good call. That was a good call. I was about to like go crazy with like platform renderers. Well, look, that's a pretty good approximation of what we're trying to do. Let's have a look. Like, I think there's some fine tuning could be done with some sizes of things. Some font sizes don't feel quite right. I feel we've improved that, although we need a smaller font on there. Apart from that, I think it's looking pretty good. What do you think? You happy? Ship it? I think given that I've been coding for 4 hours without a break, I think I'm going to ship that for this session, today's session, and then maybe we'll do a little bit of tidy up. Maybe I'll do that off stream. It'll just be boring playing around with font sizes, and then we'll tackle this screen. And what I'm imagining with this screen, is actually having like a SkiaSharp image that we can perhaps gyroscope around and have a look at the different places. I don't know. Or at the very least, one where you could swipe, and so you could swipe that way, and you know there'd be to move around so that then there's this fish is like here, and this one is there. I don't know. We'll try it. We'll see what happens. Alrighty. But for now, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to commit this code. And then end up with a zillion changes. Very, very articulate commit there. If anyone wants to play with it, should be there on GitHub at that location. All right, but otherwise, I think I'm going to sign off. So thanks everyone who joined in. Appreciate it, and have a great week. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you next week. No worries. Thanks very much. I'm going to go to a closing screen. So thanks, everyone. Thanks, Goku. Thanks, Infinite Recursion. Tarasag. You need to tell me how to say your names right. But all right. Take care, everyone. Bye for now.